Okay, today we're going to talk about how we can bring in music to your voice recording and then move the music around, or cut the part you want, move it around, and then also fade using the envelope tool, so fading the music in and out, and then finally exporting your file and finalizing it. So as you can see, I've got a voice recording right here. Let me zoom it in. So right now it's zoomed out because I had imported some music, so I'm zoom it in. So there's my voice recording. I've got some labels and I want to import some music. So a couple ways you can do that. One is you can just take a file. Here's an MP3 file. I've grabbed it. You can just pull it right into Audacity. It'll process it and bring it in. Another way is to file, import audio, and you should be able to find somewhere your music and open it. So I've loaded 2 files in there of music. Maybe I want to use 2 different kinds of things. So you'll see how that looks when I have it in the window. So still processing this one, so wait till it's done. Alright, so you notice I've got 3 kind of tracks going. There's my voice track, and it's really small because it's stretching out everything to fit the 2. There's the first music track and the second one that's a lot longer. So one thing you can do is mute anything you're not working on. So if you can see, I can mute this track, and I can, let's say, mute this second one. Now I can just work with this music track and decide what I want. So I can hit play and I can listen to it, see how it sounds. If you want to adjust the volume of it overall, you can bring it down here or bring it up. You might want to listen to it with your voice a little bit to see how it'll blend. We can always do the fading later, in and out. Next, let's say that I pick a section, so I only want to grab this section of the track and I don't want anything else in here. So one way is you can figure out where it is, and I'm going to just go to this section and I'm going to cut out everything before it. So with my selection tool, I'm just going to highlight that, and then I can go and trim that out, cut it, and it cut it out, and then I can play, and I'll play up to the section. So let's say it's playing along, and then I get to about here, and I want to play to right that spot, and the rest I just want to get rid of. So I can just cut this out and trash it right there. So now I just have the section I want. Now I might want to turn on, so unmute my soundtrack, and I can zoom it in. So there's a zoom tool right there. I can zoom it in to expand it. So there's my audio track, and it's past my soundtrack, so I'm going to have to pause it, stop it, rewind it. So there's my soundtrack. So now I can play it and see how the music sounds over and decide if that's going to work. So there's my first soundtrack. Now let's say I need to move this soundtrack. I'm going to zoom back out. Let's say I need to move this track. You have to do something special here. You have to select the time shift tool. So notice that's the time shift tool. Now you'll see I have 2 arrows, and I can move this track back and forth. So I can slide it around, decide, and line it up with where I want it on my audio track there. So I can move it around. The other nice thing is you can collapse some windows, so if you don't want it as large, you can shrink it down. It makes it a little easier to see the tracks lined up. Now I can move this. I could also move the sound, my soundtrack, to move that along the audio track if I want the music to come in first and then my voice. So those are all available with the time shift tool. Alright, so I've gotten those 2, and let's say I decide I'm just going to get rid of this track, but maybe I'd use a section of that later. Now I'm going to move into actually doing the envelope tool. So I'll show that in the next screencast.